G'day, I'm Gavin from Hurley's Fly Fishing. We specialise in guided tours throughout Victoria, but we also take groups to Alaska, Chile, bone fishing Christmas Island, and our most popular one, New Zealand. So if that's where you want to go, come in and see us at our stores in Bentley and Lumsden. Yep. Whoa!
Here comes. Yeah. Oh. Isn't it funny how a day pans out?
G'day, I'm Gavin from Hurley's Fly Fishing and welcome to another episode of On the Fly. So we're in magnificent Scotland, on the top of the UK. Everybody knows it because of Billy Connolly. I'm expecting to see him at any one of these hills as well. We're with Stevie, who's the head guide at Pike Bite, which is a guiding setup for pike, which they're a different sort of a fish to our normal trout and things like that. They're sort of, I guess, a freshwater barracuda type fish, and very aggressive, pretty nasty teeth as well. It's an incredible place to go, just with the rolling hills, and it certainly reminds me of certain places that we go to in New Zealand or even down in Western Victoria as well. It's a pretty amazing sort of place where the hills just go on and on for miles. But I'm pretty excited to get here and tackle something a little bit different, and that's what's quite appealing to a fly fisherman, when you can get onto something a little bit different like pike. We're using 10 weight rods, which will be interesting. We normally use those for like big GTs and tuna, so potentially like these pike might actually be like a Loch Ness monster or something, you never know. But we'll get out with Stevie on some of these boats and put some of these big flies in front of these pike and see what we can't come up with. Our first glimpse of Portmore Loch was pretty exciting. Surrounded by native bush and rolling hills, it was a pretty impressive place to come across. Well, lucky enough to have Steve, the owner of Pike Bite, who's got this outstanding fishery behind us on the up the top of Scotland, just out of Edinburgh. Pretty special place, mate.
Right in the end of the Moorfoot Hills.
Yeah.
So it's a glacier loch.
Loch, that's right.
It's Loch, not lake. Loch. It was created by the glacier, and then they dammed it in 1884 to increase the level so they could feed Edinburgh with water.
Yeah. And you've had this for a while?
35 years now.
Yeah, great.
Man and boy.
Yeah.
There's quite a large biodiversity of fish in the loch. We have trout, brown trout, rainbow trout, perch, pike, some roach, and then minnows, which are a member of the carp family,
sure.
Sticklebacks, and then you've got all your damselflies and stuff like that, and snails, so there's a huge amount of feeding, and the pike tend to eat very small stuff because they're attacking. Well, what do you call them? European redfin in Australia?
Ah, yes, redfin.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing.
Yes,
but they're this size, so the pike attack those and feed on those, and when you're catching pike, you'll actually see them regurgitating the wee perch up as they're fighting.
Wow!
But we've had them. There's one up in the wall. Did you notice it?
Yes, I did.
That's only 5 ounces shy of the British record.
Wow.
It's 46 pounds 5 ounces.
And the flies we're going to use, these are tied by a pretty famous fly tie.
Dave McFluffchucker.
Yeah.
that's the name of his business. But Dave is one of the best pike fly tiers in Scotland at the moment. His stuff is phenomenally tied. He uses all this new material. You're in the fishing business, you know these new materials that are coming out. Ties them up to look like perch, but we find that this here is probably small and olive.
Yep.
Because as you know, if you catch a small perch, it isn't black. It's not got black stripes. It's a kind of dull olive colour because the black stripes haven't matured. So that seems to be the most popular fly. That or red and white. red and white is red hot
Just
at the moment.
attracts. Yeah, I think a lot of these flies too, from our point of view, look a lot like big saltwater flies.
They
and
do. I mean,
because
there's Dave ties a lot of. We do a lot of fly fishing for a fish called pollock here, which is a fish you get off the rocks, and it's a really hard fighting fish. And Dave ties up streamers that look like sand eels, and he ties up things like this. And I mean, it's so they're for predatory fish.
Yes.
Basically, you'll get bass on them, sea bass. You get pike, you get pollock, you get any kind of predatory fish taking them. Even the perch will take them.
Yes, yeah, right. And we're using like 10-weight rods, which are what we would normally use for GTs and things like that. So pretty heavy for casting, like at times, like quite big flies, which is pretty important. But also the size of these fish. And I'd imagine they're going to have a fair bit of power because I mean the leader we've gone with like 25-pound like fluorocarbon, and on the end of that we tie this pretty amazing
Authentic wire.
Yeah. So
Fantastic
this is
stuff.
something that Steve gets, and it's from Germany, and this is what's it, 17 kilo.
Yep.
So that should give him a bit of a chance, you know, 17 kilo.
It's revolutionised the fly fishing. I mean, it makes so much difference. You can just tie a knot. Before it was all clips and wires, and everything was a hassle. And if you got broken, oh God, I need to wire it up. But with that, it's just you just tie it on. It's no problem at all. It's simple. The rods, 10-weight rods, they're a wee bit overkill, unless you're getting into a fish at 30, 35 pounds. But because we've got like weed beds, if a pike runs you into a weed bed, you need someone with a bit of power to get it back out of the weed bed to haul it out. But they fight like at the moment. They're fighting really hard. This is when they're at their prime. September is the month when they're fed up on the perch fry and they're just fit as get out.
Yeah. There we go. Explain. Perfect.
So anywhere from here, Gavin, to be honest, just fishing onto the bank and then back out.
Yep. We've got an intermediate on, so just let it sink for a bit. Is that the go?
Yeah.
And then a couple of strips, and really needs to be near the tin, right near the bank, closer.
What we find sometimes is if it's a plop, when it falls in, it attracts them, and you find if they're just sitting, a lot of them sit really close to the shore and they just turn around. It's almost instantaneous when they take it.
Quite an interesting thing that you said, instead of lifting your fly up and watching it, and you've still got a lot of retrieve, is that we can draw it around by the side, and it gives you a much better view of it too. So, and he gave me that hint, no charge too, so he's pretty good. Because apparently they're pretty tight from
very tight, and
where Hugh comes from. That's why they invented double taper fly lines, wasn't it?
Yep. So we can use it twice.
Yep.
That's why we invented copper wire, fighting over a penny.
Yeah.
There's two brothers pulling a penny apart. We got copper wire.
You've been doing this for a while?
Up here with Stevie about 3 years.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I get more satisfaction out of people catching fish than fishing myself now.
Yeah, right. Well, if you didn't do this, you'd have to get a real job, and
Exactly.
there's no fun in that.
No, none at all.
No. Structure like that will attract the pike.
They'll just sit just off the structure. So they are like very predatory fish. They like to ambush the prey rather than just chasing it all over.
So around those tins or big trees and roots and trees.
There's a nice fish come over.
Yeah. You give it a whack. Bugger.
I'll just take his back a bit, because if he hasn't actually taken, he might come again.
Yeah, I reckon he's just got like the tail of it where there was no hook up. But he sort of hit that at Yeah, that was one of the most aggressive. Oh, there he is, yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
well
that's
done.
nice. Yes. It's been pretty tough, and that's a solid fish. He's still eating. I think he's going around still eating, mate. I don't think he even knows he's hooked. But that he'd come up and he'd smack that fly, but just get it at the tail end. Whoa! And I don't think he felt the hook.
Yeah.
Because he'd come back again. So that's more than likely that'll be the same fish.
Same fish.
Same fish. Yep. Cool.
You'll find them if they don't actually get pricked with the hook, they'll come back.
Yes. Yeah, he's got a good bit of power to him there. Oh, yeah. There we go. I might run him around the other side of the boat.
Got plenty of time.
Yeah. And that's on a 10 weight rod, and that's a fair bit of pressure on that. We'll get him back out. Come on, mate. Oh, there we go. Taken all day to get him. We've got the rest of the day to net him. We don't have to speed it up.
No.
There he is.
In great condition.
Yeah. He's quite a powerful fish. And they're incredibly aggressive and predatory, isn't it? That's just sitting there to eat little redfin or little carp or whatever. I think we were about good now. Right. Good one. Excellent, mate. Well done.
It's a nice fish.
Well done. Beautiful fish. That's a incredible mouth, aren't they? In there, they could swallow a watermelon. Yeah. Oh, incredible. And they're pointed back, aren't they? That's to grab prey and not let it go. 1, 2, 3. Straight down.
away.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Slimy
Well done.
hands, mate. Well done. Well done. That was good. It had been pretty tough, but about persisting, isn't it? When it's, well, I mean, early on we had like a lot of sun, that can slow them down, you know. But it's about persisting, going to the good spots, changing flies again, try different things, and eventually something's going to work. So as long as you've got a good guy looking after you, you're going to be successful. So well done, mate. Good job. Good job.
We'll go and get another one now.
Now the gear we're using for pike fishing, we're using, you can, like a 9 or a 10 weight. I'm much preferring a 10 weight, a Stalker Current, with a good bit of power in it. A drag, like a reasonable drag on a good solid reel. A little bit of backing there. Most of the pike won't take too much backing. We're using an intermediate line, a 10 weight there, so it gets that fly down. And we're using something that imitates, gets their attention, but it might imitate like a little bait fish, because these are aggressive predatory feeders, these pikes. So something like that moves a bit of water, grabs their attention, they put it in their mouth pretty quickly. So on a short little trace, what we've got there, because their teeth are so sharp, they used to use wire, but as the fish would get hooked, it would roll and would harm the fish. So this is like a special sort of a braid, which is the pike can't bite through it, so it's pretty strong there, under a fluorocarbon leader. So that's the ideal setup for pike. Cast that out, let it sink a little bit, vary your retrieve and strip it back, and hopefully that brings a fish or two on the end of this fly.
Right, we come up to this gap in this,
And then here,
yeah,
and there's definitely one sitting in there.
always
Always. Just cast it right in that gap, let it sink.
put money on it.
How much?
Oh, about 10 bob.
I was going to say, ooh.
God, if I was in there, I'd eat that myself.
Yep. Might need 2 goes.
Yeah.
So they will come out and chase it. They won't just, just sit there and...
They'll come out as far as the boat.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Well, here he is, one under it. Do I move it?
Yeah, just let it drop down. No, still there.
Yep.
Oh, there you go, just at the hang box. Let's see if we can just hold the boat here for a bit.
So you do like a lot of like day trips, people get in contact with you and a lot of guiding?
Take people out in 2s and 3s. We've had as many as 15. We've got all the tackles up the stair.
Yeah.
So all they need to bring is a jacket and a pair of sunglasses.
perfect.
We provide everything. Lunch, we can get them picked up at local hotels. There's some beautiful local hotels in this area. There's one just across the road called the Black Barney, which is stunning.
Yep.
And you've got the Cringlety Hydro Hotel in Peebles. So you've got some really nice... I mean, you can go right down to a bed and breakfast or a pub.
Yes.
But you can go high end if you want, if you've got the wife with you.
Yeah. Well, you've got to keep everybody happy, don't you?
You're right.
Yeah.
Aye.
So if somebody comes across specifically for fishing, you can cater for them. But say if they're only here for a day, you know, they can pinch a bit of time. You can pick them up, run them out here and look after
That's
them.
what we do. I mean, mainly the people we get. Well, there's two groups, but one of them is a guy with his wife.
Yes.
And because it's easy fishing, it's not like salmon fishing, which you can spend 5 days in the river and no see a fish.
Yep.
Pike fishing is fairly easy, and they're big fish.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Yep. Try and drag him out. I was just going to say, when that cast went in and swung around on the other side, I was going to say that deserved a fish. But to have that one, I thought there was a bit of a swirl behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. A white belly. So just that predator look, isn't it? With that white belly, they can't see from if they're above the fish, and that dark top. Yeah.
It's quite nice. Let's see what he's up to.
Not a fit young bloke like us two. Yeah. You'll take your arm off.
So if you get them when their gills are wide open like that, if you get the finger up the top, the gill, and then it's just straight out with the hook. So you have no problem there. And just
Bring back in.
Do you want a photograph? Sorry.
Yeah, can you get that one back and we'll get a photograph? Yeah, thanks mate, thanks for asking. No, it's good, it's been really tough going, and we've sort of persisted with that, which has been good. Swapped flies a couple of times, and you know, just to get to work. I mean, as like you said, you know, we're not. It's not called catching; it's called angling, or it's called fly fishing, because we're having a go. Try a few different things, and you get the odd fish to take, makes it all worthwhile. So, we'll see how we go. I mean, today's been quite bright. That might have slowed them up as well. You know, tomorrow's forecast for a little bit overcast. That might be better again. So we'll see how we go. We'll still have a nice little run down here, and you never know, we might pick up a few fish. But if not, we've had a wonderful time anyway. So let's just get this fly back in the water. It's always good to be fishing and watch somebody else working, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can do that all day.
That's it. That's what the poor people are doing today, working.
It's not just a case of throwing a big lump of feather and fluff out.
No,
These wee gaps in the trees there that you're throwing the fly right into is where the fish will lie. And you have to be accurate if you want to land that on the fish, otherwise you're going to end up putting up the trees and the bushes.
Yes.
So although you're fishing with quite heavy gear, 9 and 10 weight rods and lines, you still have to have that skill on occasion to be able to put it into the holes that the fish are lying in.
Yeah.
You know? You can see the shallows in there. You can see the depth of the water there, Gav. See that? It's just perfect for the fish lining.
Yes. It only rains half the time here and the rest it pours, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
4 seasons in one day. And grouse are the birds that you hear out in the hill calling it. You know the bird that you see in the front of the whiskey bottle?
Yeah.
That's the grouse.
as if I would have ever seen a whiskey
well, I
bottle
guess
like
that you would have seen that before, exactly. Red grouse.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Yeah?
Yep. Beautiful.
Fantastic.
That's it. And that's what we needed. That was the cast that deserved a fish, eh?
That was the one.
That was the one.
We did
Beautiful.
say that.
Yep. And that's good. It's just that solid hook up. And always nice big mouth there. Beautiful. Big powerful tail, isn't it?
Yeah.
And once they, that's why you've got a 10 weight rod. They obviously grow a bit bigger than this, but once they flick that tail, and if there was a lot of weed and he's getting in there, you can drag them out.
You do need it, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you start getting the bigger ones, you're getting some bigger fish, that's when you're going to need a much bigger rod like that.
Well, in fairness to the fish, you don't want to have them on for longer than necessary.
Exactly,
do you, really?
Exactly. Beautiful. Good. Nice one,
well
mate.
done.
Here's a nice one, Brian. How big?
Yeah, it's not a heavy fish. This is maybe only going to go about 4 pounds, 5 pounds.
Yeah.
But it's quite thin.
Yeah.
We've noticed that with fish just now, they're quite thin.
Yep.
Earlier in the year, there'll seem a lot more bulk than this. They're just out of condition just now, that's all. But we'll pop him back so that he can recover. Just launch him.
Straight in, and
which puts a good rush of water over the gills, and that gives him a wee boost, doesn't it?
Perfect. So we're just at this is the natural outlet of the lake, Brian? Yep.
Yes.
And Brian's just saying it can hold a lot of fish and spool of fish around it, which obviously brings in the bigger pike. So hopefully I'll get a pike on the end of this in a sec. Oh, he's under it, he's under it. Oh!
Is he still there?
No, he was just sort of followed it. He was a bigger bugger.
Was he?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll take that back up again.
Yeah. Bugger.
He was a
big fish. Oh, yeah. Well, bigger than any we've caught. Yeah. He had a mean look on his face too.
Did he?
Yep. Yeah, beady eyes. I think they might all have beady eyes, mightn't they? We go.
Oh, brilliant.
Good.
Well done.
Handy. Because I was still trying to live with the scar of that other one that came up to look at my fly. And it was doing my head in. I go, I hope I hook another fish because...
What could have been?
Yeah. And that was cool.
I'll just pull us out a wee bit, guys.
Yeah.
Any weight to this one?
Well, they all feel pretty good. Yeah. Get him around. Beautiful.
Perfect, well done.
Yeah. Excellent.
There we go.
Put him up there. He's not a bad fish.
It's not a bad fish at all.
Decent set of munches on them. Yeah.
Just pop him back in.
Good to go. Good to
Launch
go.
him back in. There we go.
Perfect.
Well done.
Well done, mate. Thanks, bud.
It's good.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Well done.
That was good though. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think we've about run out of time, mate. So
No, that's no problem at all.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Ryan.
Welcome.
It was
It's been
very
enjoyable.
good. Ryan's been our super gilly for today on this magnificent loch in Scotland. So we've sort of ran out of time. I mean, pike fishing is an amazing thing. It's so different to me. Like I haven't done anything like that before, but it is so visual as well. Even though we're using sinking lines, big flies, quite often you'll get them to come up and take. And as we spoke before, the visual aspect of it is what brings us back
That's
each
another
time.
dimension, isn't it?
Oh yeah, just brilliant. And some of these pike that you can get here, like are up to like 30 odd pound that you're getting in here and bigger.
Yeah.
You know, which is amazing. So it's something that I think every Australian needs to get up here and do. It's just a brilliant place. So yeah, Pike Bite, that's the place to go. So I look forward to catching you next week on The Fly.